Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right.
Daily live motivation stream. I'm Kauffman, and I'm here today to help you with getting some writing done. We're going to get some work done. We're going to be doing not one, not two, but 3 writing sprints. And we're going to try to be productive today. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We're still early in the week, so we're going to see what's up. Make sure to stick around for the breaks, and we'll also catch up on the writing vibe as well. We'll see what writing shenanigans and craziness is on our minds today. So stick around, and we will chat soon. Welcome to the community. I'm Kauffman. I'm on a mission to help you with the writing process. I love writers and making the writing process just a little bit easier because there's highs and lows, but with the community, it is made a much smoother process. So we're starting right now. All right, my friends. So getting straight into it. As you can see, I have my setup over here already. And here we go. So we got the Last Scarecrow all queued up. I'm going to be working on the Last Scarecrow. What are you working on today? Drop a comment and I'm going to get into it. So like I said, we'll do the first sprint at 30 minutes. We're starting a little longer today than normal, so that way we can make some progress. I need to review the end of the last chapter, and then I get to work on a new character introduction. So who doesn't want to write or read about a grizzly bear on a quest trying to find his soulmate? So I'll be getting more into that on the break, but I am all ready. So let's get into it. I was like, make sure we got some good Scarecrow vibe music. Awesome. All right. So whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. sprint done. Writing sprint done. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How was that for you guys? I feel like that was a nice start to the sprint. Personally, I feel like I was definitely able to get some good work done. I felt pretty good about that. Yeah, how did that go for you guys? Were you able to get some work done on or some progress in on your end? Drop a comment. I would love to hear. Yeah. So yeah, definitely let me know. I feel like I'm like, all right, how did I feel overall? So I'm revising the end of this last chapter that, let's see, the heroes are getting out of this like dream muck substance. So my heroes are trying to escape. I think I just had to do a slight revision on my part to make sure that what I was working on with the way that I ended the chapter worked. There was a couple elements that I'd forgotten to incorporate, which were new additions to the second draft. And then I was trying to decide if I should introduce the foreshadow to our new character, the grizzly bear, at the end of this chapter as a cliffhanger, or if I should set him up at the beginning of the next chapter. I couldn't decide. Yeah, I mean, this is a great question for you guys. Do you like reading when you're reading the end of a chapter? Do you like reading the ends having cliffhangers? Are you a fan of reading cliffhangers at the ends of chapters? Do you feel like for you every chapter has to be a cliffhanger, some chapters, or not at all? I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I was like, I'll throw that up as a Q&A. That's a great question. All right, perfect. And what do we got? Nice, Bobby. You're like, Gaigon, you're like, book 1 and 2 of my series are done. Now into the romance between them in the third book. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Sounds like we're making some good progress over here. Lynn, you're like, got some revision outlining done. I know you just made like a huge progress with having just finished your last book lately, so that's awesome. Calvin, you're like, not much, but for me, I got a little busy at work. Yeah. And I mean, obviously if you're working and you're able to still get writing in at work, like that's that is a huge win. So obviously work, it has to be the priority sometimes. Totally understandable. But yeah, I was like, when I think about my reading experience, I really like cliffhangers. I don't think that you can do a cliffhanger in every chapter, because if suspense is always here, then there's no balance. What happens is if you do a cliffhanger in every single chapter, the cliffhanger effect will lose its feel and it will lose its vibe. Yeah. So I think that's why you have to balance the cliffhangers out with the non-cliffhangers to create that like a little bit more of a roller coaster experience. Now, of course, based on the genre, some genres are going to have a higher volume or consistency of cliffhangers, like mystery, thriller, suspense. Generally has predominantly more cliffhangers because their suspense is built in more to the story structure and the narrative. Calvin, you're like, you like cliffhangers in most chapters. Guy, you're like, and I put a dragon on it. Nice. You know, I approve that. I was like, anytime we can put a dragon on it, I always approve. Yeah. And I think the reason I'm kind of thinking about a cliffhanger right now, because as I said, I'm trying to figure out if I should end this specific chapter that I'm on a cliffhanger. Well, okay. So I'm thinking, this out of the previous 2 chapters, actually, I was like, I kind of have to think about it. I think I've now done a couple chapters worth of cliffhangers, actually. So now, all right, I'm trying to think of when the last chapter was. So I'm currently on chapter 18. So I'm currently on chapter 18. Chapter 17 was a cliffhanger. 16 was a cliffhanger. 15 was a cliffhanger. 14 was not a cliffhanger. Yeah, so I actually think because 14 was another standalone. Well, no, actually, that was technically a two-part obstacle. 14, 15, 16, 17. So I've had 3 chapters worth of cliffhangers. So I probably shouldn't do a cliffhanger on this one. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do it. But I think I can do a foreshadow. So I think I can do a foreshadow because the characters were trapped in a dream world, and I did a couple of foreshadow references to the grizzly bear. So I think I'll just start the introduction of the grizzly bear at the next chapter. Yeah, that's probably the way to go about it because I've done 3 chapters with cliffhanger, so I think I need kind of that balance. Granted, the next chapter is next chapter is the one I'm adding because I needed to better set up our next character, our next hero. So let's see. And then, hey, what's up, Janine? Hello. It seems like things have turned right around after realizing I was in a toxic CP partnership. Just got another great set of feedback. Nice. Nice, Janine. That's actually really cool to hear. I think sometimes when we make changes and then we're rewarded for making those changes, such a great feeling. Really happy for you, my friend. Really, really cool. Yeah, guy. Like I think the end. I think end the book on a cliffhanger and start another book and continue from where you left off last. Yeah, and that could work. I know for depending on the reading style, if you leave off on too much of a cliffhanger at the and you don't complete the core story in the beginning of the book, readers could feel like they're taken advantage of. So I think there is a way to do cliffhangers when you're going from book to book, but I think you do have to serve the core story because you don't want the reader to go through an entire reading experience and feel like, okay, well, I read this book, but it doesn't answer anything. People can get it now in TV and media. TV, we can get away with cliffhangers at the end of stories because it's a different format. It's a different it's a different style. But books, we are not able to get away with it to the same extent. Yeah, I agree with you, Master. Like, yep, too much excitement in a novel can be a drain on the reader. It's a balance. Yep, completely agreed. In my comedy, Marta, like I end every chapter with something unexpected. The excitement grows at the end and cut. And I think that's a little different, right? So it's not necessarily every chapter for you might be a cliffhanger, but there's some type of framework, it sounds like, where maybe it's some type of high point or tension point that keeps pulling the reader forward. And it sounds like you've set up this structure framework early on so the readers kind of know to expect it, which is really interesting. And I think as long it just comes down to is the reader on board for the reading experience and are they willing to join you for the ride? That's really what it comes down to. Master, like the readers need to take time to take a breather. Yeah, and that I agree with, which is why I think if you do too much back to back, then the readers will you might lose a reader. And also you want to think about it if when you're writing a story arc, when is your reader going to sit down and take a break? This is why smaller chapters are easier for readers to get through because if there's a story arc that goes from the beginning to the end of a chapter, that is a moment where the reader, if let's say they're busy, they can pick it up, read for a chapter, then step away. Where if a story arc expands 3, 4, 5, 6 chapters, it's a little more challenging for the reader to want to stop in between chapters because they're like, oh, well, I want to know what's going to happen next, which can make it a little bit more challenging of a reading experience depending on what your type of reader is. Janine, you're like, my first book originally had a bigger cliffhanger, but a good CP advised me to adjust the ending so that there's a sense of completion. Yeah, and I would actually agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Absolutely. And because like we have to think about it like this, right? Your reader or our readers are buying the book. They want to read the story they need some type of completion for the core character story. We can still do cliffhangers as well, but we still have to serve some purpose and some way to wrap up some of the questions that we've introduced in the first book. That's an interesting breakdown, Master. Like, I think cliffhanger is 90-10. 90% of the book is resolved and 10% of less is left as a cliffhanger. That's an interesting balance, actually. Right. And then once again, like, it sounds like you have set up a very different narrative structure. So it feels like the reader is exploring the life of this character since it's going throughout the course of time. Yeah, that's really interesting, Marta. It sounds like you have a good understanding of the type of story that you want to tell, which is unique. And Lynn, this is interesting. So as a KU writer, I want people to push to the next chapters because I get paid per page. So I tend towards cliffhangers and chapters. That's really interesting, right? But I think Lynn, I'm actually glad you brought that up because you understand your reader, right? So you know that the intent of your reading experience is for them to go through chapters because that's going to serve you as the author. So you're writing with that intent in mind. And I wholeheartedly love that because you understand what your reader's expectations are. So I think that's actually absolutely phenomenal. Calvin, like, you should complete the main part but give a cliffhanger leading to the next book. Yeah, and usually most like series tend to do that. Like, most series will usually complete a core character story or journey in one book while setting up a potential plot thread or potential story arc for the next book or the arching series. So good call out. Awesome. So this is a great conversation to have, but let's hop into our second writing sprint. So let's get some more writing in. And by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. We're here every day with the Right Now community. 429 consecutive streams and counting. If you're looking for daily writing motivation with writers of all skills and levels, this is the place. We got the critique stream this weekend. We have our podcast. We have our brand new Read Now book club that we just launched, and so much more. So make sure to tap that follow or subscribe button, and you'll be alerted when we go live. All right, my friends. So let's see. For writing sprint number 2, let's see. I think, what should we do for the second one? Let's see. Let's go 30. All right, let's push up the time. Let's go 40 minutes. I'm going to do 40 minutes for the second sprint. I feel pretty confident we can make this next one a solid sprint. So I'll do 40 minutes for the second one, writing sprint number 2. And wonderful. Awesome. So I am all ready. So come join us in the writing sprint stream, whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing. That is all part of the process. I'll come join you guys in the chat because it's time to write now. Damn, of course I'm muted. I forgot the mic. Oh man, of course I forgot the mic. That's funny. How'd the writing sprint treat you? Were you guys able to get some words in that time? Whether you were getting in some ideas, brainstorms, or editing. I feel like I was able to get a little bit of progress. Yeah, I feel like I was definitely able to get a little bit of progress. I finished up the revision on that chapter. Now, usually I don't do so much revising during the second draft, but when I had to write a new section, I knew that I had to go over it again to make sure that the elements made sense and that the story elements of it were sound. So I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, I'm pretty good with that. Now, what chapter did that bring me to? I want to say that wrapped up chapter 18. So that wrapped up chapter 18, and now I'm going to have to do chapter 19. 19 is going to be I have to write a new chapter because I needed to create a transitionary chapter before the characters are thrown into a lot more craziness. So like I knew because all the characters in my story are we're at this point where okay, so I'd say we're probably about 35%. No, we're probably about 37% through the story. And we need to, yeah, I would say 37%. And the characters have been through a couple of challenges. They've now been through three obstacles. They survived the garden of mind controlling plants, the village of cannibals, and then the lake of dream muck. So they've now survived three different obstacles, and I'm introducing Gore, their next character, the next companion, as an official character. In the original draft, Gore was introduced in the next section with a bunch of the other characters, but I realized he didn't get a real initial setup, and it made his character a little weaker on the back end of the novel because then I was fleshing out his character after the midpoint, and I feel like his character needed a solo introduction. So I moved up his introduction. I foreshadowed him in this last chapter, and I just did a foreshadow at the end. So I'm pretty happy with it. And now we're going to have this grizzly bear on a quest for true love to find his soulmate. We'll be wrapping up our core heroes for at least this next major arc. Yeah, which I think is definitely important. So I know that's a good call. Yeah, so I feel pretty good on that. Now, as I think through what I have to accomplish and review on my end, you guys know, I will review my outline. Right. So usually I'll review my outline. I have to go through the different storytelling, the different elements. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So I have to go through the outline. I'm going on to chapter 19 for True Love, which is the next chapter. And let's see. So what do I need to accomplish in this one? So in this one, I have Scarecrow, Pebble, Mr. Crow, and Gore. All right, so let's see. Heroes encounter a new. Let's see. This chapter, I would say, yeah, heroes encounter a new animal and recollect themselves. And you know what? Now that I think about it, actually, I'm probably going to combine this one. Well, okay. No, you know what? They need to just have a downtime chapter because we've now been through let's see, where are we at? So even in the story, we've now been through about 260 pages, and there just hasn't been that much downtime. So like, yeah, we need the reader needs to have a downtime chapter. All right. So now it's like I ask myself, what do I have to accomplish? I have to set up and introduce Gore the grizzly bear. I mean, I think that's the big. I mean, I think we're going to reaffirm Scarecrow, Crow, and Pebbles strengthening bond as friends, and I'll put question mark. And then we're gonna have to touch on where the next destination is. Touch on where the next destination is. So you guys can kind of see like what I'm doing, right? So I'm setting up my goals here. I know my character's in it. So this is definitely going to be a downtime chapter. I have to set up and introduce the new character. I have to reaffirm my pre-existing character's new friendship through the things that they've just gone through. And then I have to touch on where the next destination is. And I think those are the only three things that I really have to focus on. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. I was like, I don't think I have to accomplish too much more right now for this chapter. This chapter might be a little shorter, which is all right since I'm way over word count to begin with. So let's hop into our next writing sprint. And where are we at on time? Let's see, we're at about 136. All right, so let's stick with another 40-minute sprint. We'll do the same time. I'm going to stick to it. I feel pretty good about that. And yeah, let's get into it. So we will go here. All right, perfect. And I'll cue up the music. So come join us for the third writing sprint. Whether you're brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the vibe. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right, and that is a wrap. Writing sprint number 3 completed. Woo! Oh man, awesome. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I felt good about that. I actually wanted to accomplish something a little different today. I thought that I would start on the next chapter, but then I was kind of, after I did the revision on that last chapter, I kind of caught myself up in doing a little bit of formatting and structuring as I'm kind of wrapping my head around this next section. Yeah, because this next chapter, I'm writing a new chapter in, another one because I have to introduce and set up our grizzly bear character. And then the next 9 chapters is really going into this next major story arc. So when I broke up book 2, which is act 2 of this novel, the first 9 chapters tends to be a lot of varied adventures as they are stuck dealing with different varieties of obstacles. Well, the back end of this act 2, book 2, is the characters are stuck dealing with a single obstacle that's getting progressively worse. Many more minor characters are introduced, and it feels like the world expands a little bit because we're starting to see where we're getting insight at what different other types of creatures who are trying to survive in this land look like and feel like. And we're also getting a hint at some more organized tribes, some more organized tribes. The 2 tribes that we've been introduced to so far in the story, we have the Garden, which is led by a mind controlling flower. You're like, basically, it's a cult. The second tribe is the group of inanimate objects, which is basically another type of cult who worships a fire god and basically cannibalizes passerbys. So both of the tribes that we've been introduced to so far in this world are both very dark. This next tribe is going to be very dark for a different reason. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to getting into this the Colosseum of the Last arc. So definitely looking forward to exploring it. I'll have to see how I feel about introducing our grizzly bear character tomorrow, Gore the Grizzly. So that will be fun. I hope you were able to get some progress on your end. It sounds like we were all getting some substantial and solid progress today. Thank you all for joining me as we look towards creative writing on the morrow. I'll be back tomorrow for our weekly Wednesday Writers Group. Make sure to join us. If you want to come hop on screen, drop a comment, shoot me a message, and we'll include you on the invite. Every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we write together with other writers in the community, and we get some work done. We talk about some writing shenanigans and maybe get some writing in. So I'll be here. Make sure you join us tomorrow. And if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button on your way out. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. All right, my friend. It's been a great stream. Once again, thank you all for joining me today. I felt pretty consistent, pretty successful. I wanted to get to that next chapter, but there's always tomorrow. So thank you all for joining me. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.
Right now.
Right
Right now.
Right now.
now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to